everyone. Welcome back to 5 Minutes with Phil. I'm Paul Chambers. I have the pleasure of being interviewed by the master, the brains behind the outfit, Philip Barnett, and also Chris.
Hi.
Pleasure to be here. It's been a few bit of time between drinks, Phil? Chris has taken over and really done wonders. I've been really impressed with how you and Chris have steered the ship since I've departed. So I'm keen to learn what you guys have for the future, ideas, and yeah, just a pleasure to be here, Phil.
And I think I could speak for Phil when I say that it's awesome to finally have you back on. It's been great. It's been a long time coming. I believe we promised 3 weeks ago that we would have episode 100 up, and
Yep.
just life happens. There's illnesses, there's hardware malfunctions. We just never got to
Yeah.
it. So I'm so happy that we can get here today, and Phil can finally stop feeling like Shane Warne, stuck on 99. And finally,
Nice cricket reference, Chris. I like it.
hey, I remember that one from a few weeks ago when Phil told me he felt like Shane Warne. Um, it's been a roller coaster. It's been awesome, and I've been so stoked to be a part of 5 Minutes with Phil. And yeah, I guess with today with the format, we kind of had the intention of semi-interview, semi sort of behind the scenes how 5 Minutes with Phil all came about, and I think you were the most logical spot to start because I took over after you finished. So I guess a big part of the process is how did 5 Minutes with Phil really start from your perspective, Paul?
Yeah, well, thinking back, probably a few years ago now, um, Phil and I sort of sat down and just started brainstorming on how can Phil connect with his local community? How can he put out his thoughts? And I mean, at the time, you had so many goals, and you had a lot of opinions on what was happening in your local community, whether it be the library, and I think the TAFE. Um, we were doing quite a bit in just with local organisations as well. So we were just looking for a medium where Phil could express his thoughts and his opinions, and also get his views out on a variety of topics from country music to his beloved Roosters to cricket, and also what's happening in his local community. So that's where it sort of stemmed from. We interviewed a few people. We even went live from a cafe, the local Corindai cafe, with I think the Country Women's Association, um, which was awesome. And yeah, it's flowed from there. So
And those videos as well, actually, I think going back when we were doing the video count, I saw a couple of those videos pop up. So I guess anyone watching at the moment, if you want to take a dive back in, the first 48 ish episodes of 5 Minutes with Phil are on his Facebook page. Um,
yeah, right. Some say I look younger now.
hey, running your own business will do that to you, won't it? Yeah, the videos, so like live streaming from the cafe and just sort of touching base with the local community and getting I guess Phil's voice out there was a big driving force behind actually starting 5 Minutes with Phil.
For sure. I mean, anyone who's spent 5 minutes with, well, 5 minutes with Phil
Yeah,
knows that, I mean, Phil has a passion for his community. He wants to be involved. He has so many different opinions to share. And what's the best way to get those thoughts out? So we stumbled on a bit of a program format. At the time, we used Facebook, and you've sort of rolled with that and sort of broadened it out to YouTube and probably a couple of other platforms.
yeah.
So it's, yeah. it was a privilege to start it, and I really enjoy watching them, and looking forward to the next 100, Phil.
Hey, another 100. You reckon you could put up with me for another 100? I don't know if I saw
Oh,
that.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like broadening it out to YouTube. Initially, when I took over, and that was like I was keen, but at the same time, it was something new to me. I hadn't done a lot of, I guess, camera talking, and when I still remember when you were here as we did a couple of buddy shifts getting me used to working with Phil, and we went out into the lounge room and we did the recording. I might even snip a bit of the episode in just so people can see how it's changed. Hi everyone, welcome to another 5 Minutes with Phil. I'm Chris, this is Phil, and yeah, you might be seeing me a little bit more. Paul will still be dropping in from time to time, but I've been asked to sort of take over a bit of the 5 Minutes with Phil. So there'll be a few different talking points, I guess. Phil, you're more of the sports guy yourself, and so I'm going to have to rely on Phil to update me a bit on the footy, aren't I? But one of the things I distinctly remember is we had the notes. It was, this is what we're talking about. I felt pressure of sport, which everyone knows I don't know a lot about sport, guys. So we recorded it. And then when I finished, I looked at it and I went, Paul, I got through everything too quickly. And all I was missing really was just relax, doesn't matter. And I guess I ended up, as time went on, becoming a little bit more aloof, like using a bit more of my aloofness, and just sort of, I didn't mind appearing silly at times just to sort of get a bit of a laugh. My goal kind of became, can I make Phil laugh this episode? And it just kind of steamrolled from there. And I only broadened out to YouTube at the time because after recording, it was like, well, I want to put it out too so people can sort of see what I'm doing as well. And we ended up going, well, why don't we just put it on YouTube and then share the link so I don't have to upload it to two different places?
Yeah.
And that kind of became a bit of a thing. Like, and still, all of the eyes are on Phil. Um, Everyone that replies on my end are always like, "Good on you, Phil. Good stuff. Oh, go the Roosters," or "Boo, Roosters won." Um, but yeah, it's sort of, I'm just the voice box for Phil, and I just talk silly. And sometimes Phil has some opinions on things that I have to sort of go, "Nah, I'm not. I don't feel comfortable saying that. I don't want to annoy someone." Um, because
Well,
we have a few times had some opinions. We've talked about John Laws. Um, we've talked.
Phil can be edgy. Absolutely.
He can. We've talked about John Laws. We've talked with John Laws on radio.
Wow.
Yeah, we sat on hold. Was it 2 or 3 hours, Phil? We sat on hold, and they kept checking in every half an hour. They're like, "Hey, you still there?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then we had a lovely chat with John Laws to congratulate him for being on the radio for a century. And and
Did you
then
say a century?
yeah, he's old.
Yes.
No, yeah, like we talked for ages, and he said, yeah, call back anytime. And I thought, I don't want to wait on hold for 3 hours every Tuesday.
Yeah. What's your personal number, and we'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely. My only regret was that we didn't spruik 5 Minutes with Phil while I was on the radio with John.
Yeah.
Um,
Should have.
that might be
I
a
was.
goal for this year.
It's pretty funny, like thinking back, like you mentioned that you spoke a bit quick and it took a little while to sort of ease into it and lighten up. Oh, Phil, we used to do so many takes, and all just the trying to get the sort of the intro right. Go, hey, it's Phil, it's Phil and Paul, something like that, and just high voice, low voice, just all over the shop, and then rambling along and like cut.
Hi everyone, Welcome to 5 Minutes with Phil. I'm Paul Chambers, I'm Phil's speaker for today. We're super excited. Here's the man, Philip Barnett, live from Corindai. Hi everyone, welcome to 5 Minutes with Phil. I'm Paul Chambers, I'm Phil's speaker for today. I have that honour. And here's the man, Phil Barnett, the people's man, legend. He's excited to be here. I'm excited to be here, so let's get underway. Welcome back to 5 Minutes with Phil. This is our third episode and we're just as excited as the first. Phil's ramped up today. He's got a few important messages to talk to you about, a few things to get off his chest, so we'll get underway. Welcome back to 5 Minutes with Phil. Here's the man, here's the legend, the people's person. He's here today to talk to you about important topics that affect you and the wider community. He's got a lot on his mind today, so stay with us.
Phil's laughing away. Just do it again. And then Therese would wander in the background and go, no!
Yep. We still get that. And I love the enthusiasm looking back at your videos as we were going through. And I was like, oh, man, just the level of enthusiasm there. And there's been episodes, Phil, where I think we have a notorious one that was overly quiet. I was just like, hey, everyone, welcome to 5 Minutes with Phil. And I just kept it at that tone for the whole video because I can't remember. We were struggling with Land FM probably, and we just had enough.
I think the episodes that I remember most fondly are episodes we had out in the community. Phil, we did one in, we did a bit of recording in Gunnedah. There's the Corindai Cafe. We even did one in the local Corindai Cemetery at one stage. And that was a bit more sober, of course. There wasn't as much laughing. But yeah, just it's always been about connecting Phil with his local community. So I'm really pleased that you guys have carried on that Phil's original vision. So
yeah, sweet. I'm just stoked to have been a part of it, and hope I can still be a part of it for time to come, and as long as you can tolerate me, Phil. But yeah, like that's actually one thing we haven't gotten a lot of time doing videos out in the community. We've done a couple, like around Country Music Festival. Remember when we went shopping and there was that deal on at the kitchen shop, Phil? Your mum bought a pan. I asked Phil if we could do a video and spruik the business, and he said no. So I spruiked what his mum bought from the business instead.
Therese would love that.
Oh yeah, it was great. And then we used those same cuts, Phil, when we got rid of Sam Cloud, and I used it, and I was turning the fry pan, and Sam Cloud's face was on the face of the frying pan. But I did go a bit overboard with some of the editing on some videos to the point that it felt a bit, I don't know, it took longer than it should have. So I tried to get it back to one take, one record, and then just cut anything in between that might not be relevant, like, you know, if Phil and I need to take a break for some reason, I'll just cut that bit of the video out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we over the time we've had our transitions. There's been I've interjected wrestling talk into the sports section where I can, much to some people's dismay. Therese often.
I'm not seeing as much coverage of the cricket, Chris. I think you need a little bit more in there. So
yeah, I apologise. And
what do you think, Phil?
Do you reckon we'll get back to sport? Well, I guess for the viewers and the people who have stuck with us for this this conversation, I think a big thing to mention, I guess, and we won't linger on it too much because it's taken up a lot of time over the years. Land FM, we're simplifying it, and that's all I'm going to say. We're going to spend less time doing Land FM stuff so that we can actually focus more on what matters. Because even I said last week to Phil, I'd love to come in here one day, Phil, and just not do Land FM.
It's grown into a bit of a beast, all-consuming beast.
It became a Frankenstein, really. It just grew and grew and grew, and expectations from Phil weren't what I would call unachievable, but things just haven't been working the way they're expected to work, and the problem's not always on our end. So I spend an hour or two sort of delving into it and looking at it and going, there's no problem here from us. It must be on the other side, which I have no control over. So we've decided we'll scale it back, and then we can focus more like on that song we've been writing, Phil. We can finally finish that.
Wow, that's lovely. Yeah.
It's going to be fun, and we've got a few ideas coming up. I'm not going to mention them because we have a problem with mentioning ideas and then they don't come to fruition because it just doesn't work for some reason. So I'm
Yeah,
going to
the
keep
peter out.
some
It's a
thoughts.
peter out. Yeah.
It's a peter out, yes, the good old Hamish and Andy
Yeah.
peter out. So yeah, that's good. But we've got some ideas. We've got some good ideas, and hopefully, as of next week, we might be able to start one of these ideas.
Yeah, it's exciting. Cool.
Yeah,
Look forward to it.
it's
Yeah.
going to be awesome, Phil. Yeah,
I think the problem is, Chris. I think the problem is that you just haven't expanded your team. I think you bring in a whole technical team. I mean, even with 5 minutes with Phil, where's your makeup artist coming in? It's just prep. I think.
well,
So
that's it. It's good help can be hard to find, and yeah, like
yes.
as far as like the lighting, sometimes the lighting is just shocking, and we can't get the right level of lighting, can we, Phil, to really make our faces shine?
Have you considered remodeling Teresa's house? I think she'd appreciate that.
Well, I think they've talked about a hoist and whatnot, Phil, as far as helping transition. And I said, well, your old man, he was a butcher by trade, wasn't he? And the butchers in the shop have them rails that they put the hooks on, and they can just fling them down to the cool room. We could just run one down the hallway, get Phil where he needs to be ASAP.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about a green room or something like that, but yeah, if you want to
Well, then you've got to have
fling him
catering.
down the hall with that too.
Once you have a green room, you've got to have catering. So, yeah. Well, I've tried actually, and there have been behind the scenes people, and I've sometimes alluded to other people being here while we've recorded, but they've never wanted to be on camera. The viewers have heard of Phil's mum, Therese. She doesn't want to be on camera. We've had other support workers in house, and a few episodes actually. I think you probably heard Sophie giggling a few times.
Yeah.
And as I've said, like the goal's
Well,
always been to get a laugh out of someone.
you've got to force people in. Like when you first started, I was like, Chris, we're doing this.
Yeah. Well, that was one of
so you didn't have a choice. So
yeah,
you got to force people in, and eventually they get comfortable. So
well, that's it. And I do actually remember that conversation when you sort of said you were going to transition out, and if I was interested in taking over, and you said, look, one of the things is I do 5 minutes with Phil. I'd love to see it continue. So could you take that on? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like I won't shy away from trying something, and this is actually something that
challenge,
I
yeah,
really enjoy doing with Phil. So we'll
awesome.
try and make sure we.
So you got a bit of a surprise coming up. Let me interview you. What have you got any ideas on the broader horizon? Are you?
Well, as far as the broader horizon with Phil, like Phil keeps wanting to get back to live broadcasting, going live on air, doing things like that. And we found a potential solution. I introduced Phil a while ago to a streaming platform called Twitch. For those who aren't in the know, there's a lot
all the cool kids are using Twitch. I've got no idea what you're talking about.
There's Twitch and YouTube is competing with it now as well, where they do streaming, just live streaming essentially. But there is a setup that you can actually. We've got the gear to do it, to set up and actually play music live. We can pipe in Land FM into the stream so people can hear it, and essentially that can be. We discussed it this morning with Phil and his mum, and that could be a bit of an outlet for the live streaming. We can have the mic set up. We can do a bit of stuff on cam, and people can join the room and actually talk to you via typing. And we can actually sort of get a bit of that communication happening in real time, because the radio side of it was very difficult to get everything working. It was plugged in, and I sat there for a full day once going, why isn't this working? And I mean, I'm not shy about technology. I know my way around technology. I just couldn't work it. So this was one of the ideas. Was getting that.
gives you an appreciation for the radio companies where you've got like maybe 5 seconds of nothing on air and you're screaming at the radio, "What's going on?"
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It gives, like, being on that other side of it and trying to get it to work has been like, it's been a great learning experience. If anything, I've gotten a lot of skills from working with you, Phil. And yeah, so we're going to explore this idea with Twitch.
Yep.
Try to make
Cool.
something of that, and then also keeping 5 minutes with Phil back onto a weekly schedule if we can really possibly get ourselves there, Phil. And also, Phil's got a lot of song lyrics and ideas for writing some music. Um,
Mhm.
and ever in the Phil Barnett way, he dreams big. So we're talking about putting some chords down and getting some music together, and Phil's already thinking, who can I get to sing this song? Who can I get to feature on the album? Aren't you? You're going, oh, I'll speak to oh my goodness, Dale Duncan. We'll get Dale on
Yeah.
the album, and I'm like, let's just get the songs written first. Let's. You're already thinking up here, and I'm going, let's just keep it here for a moment and get some songs written.
Phil's thinking national tour, world tour.
Yeah, you are, and we'll get the like Slim Dusty with the national traveling Slim Dusty show all around the country. Phil in a bus, and he's thinking superstardom, and I'm going, let's just get the songs written first, and then we can tap.
Don't let him slow you down, Phil. So just keep pushing him. You've got the vision. You've got to follow through.
You do, mate. Yes, going to a radio station, Phil. That one has been on, I think, everyone's to-do list with Phil going to a radio station. And I approached Phil about the best way to go about this because we've tried, and I'm sure
Mm.
Paul, you've tried too. And a big thing is it's just treated like a bit of a tour. Hey, here's some merch. Thanks for coming. See you later. So I've
And
asked,
Phil's like, no, I want to run the place.
Yeah.
I want executive decision making.
put me at the
And
head of the table.
let's my first move. Let's remove all this pop rubbish. More country music.
Where's your Slim Dusty? Well, yeah, I said to Phil, can we instead maybe approach the radio stations and say, look, Phil doesn't want a tour. Phil wants to be involved. What would be the best route for someone in Phil's situation to get involved in a radio station? And and is it possible? Can he get involved in your radio station? Like, is there some way that we can start the process of getting him involved? And I said to Phil in this conversation, you have to start down here. You're not going to be up here. And then just through your involvement, become more integrated with the station.
Foot through the door first. Yeah.
So that's been a question that Phil's given to me a dozen times of how can we get involved in a local radio station?
We got a tour of Gunnedah, and we've approached the local Tamworth ones, but a lot of their shows, like during the day, there's not so much happening, and so their shows start early in the morning, which is difficult. So it is a challenge. It is a challenge, but I'm sure you'll succeed on that one, Phil.
We'll do what we can. We had a station lined up to go to 2TM in Tamworth. That fell through. I can't remember exactly why that one fell through, but in the end we said, "Oh, bugger it." I think we had another appointment cropped up on the same day, like we had an actual appointment we had to get to, so we didn't get to 2TM. And in our fuss of bagging out 88.9, is it? Yeah, giving grief to 88.9, and that saga continues, ladies and gentlemen. I actually had to eat my words when I said on camera that there's no decent music on 88.9, and then that afternoon they played Slim Dusty. So, so I had to eat my words there.
Oh, yeah.
And
Feels like it's.
yeah, it was like they heard it. I hadn't even uploaded the video yet, and they knew. So moving forward for the future of 5 minutes with Phil, I can foresee. I reckon more guests. Because this has
Yep.
really been fun.
Yeah,
More
I'm
guests.
enjoying this. Hope you'll have me back one time. Yeah.
Well, I'd love to have you back. Um, I think more guests, more music, more sport, less Land FM talk, just a little bit, just pepper it in there. And I reckon we should one day, Phil, we'll ring John Laws while we're on 5 minutes with Phil. I reckon, and we'll put him on speakerphone. And, and we'll have a chat with John Laws while we're live on camera. And then maybe we'll try and spruik 5 minutes with Phil to John Laws. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Goal? Yeah. I'd love to do that. Even it'd be just a 2 hour cut here.
Sounds great. Sounds good.
Hour
Got to be careful on live radio, but I think I haven't seen of late so much you on the guitar, Chris. I think, but I mean that's probably where you two are preparing music together. So I look forward to more sing-alongs there.
Oh
But
yeah.
I don't think we've really seen your full vocal range, Chris. So looking forward to it.
I'd love to present my full vocal range. I actually, if it was relevant, I'd love to put a video in here, and this will just be a little sneak peek of behind the scenes of the life of Chris.
All right, bit of Willie Nelson time. On the dole again. I just can't wait to get on the dole again. Stay in bed until maybe 2 p.m. I can't wait to get on the dole again. On the dole again. Hanging out with people that aren't my friends. Doing things that would embarrass my old man. Oh, I can't wait to get on the dole again.
But no, it wasn't a nasty song, but it was a very honest song. And
Time to slap you around a little bit. It's time to wake up, kid. Get out there.
yeah, well, that's it. He's had a lot of opportunities, and he's been very disrespectful. And that was the best way I could address it without sort of having to ring him up and say, "Listen, mate." Instead, I presented a very happy song called "On the Dole" again, and that was a lot of fun. I love doing a bit of music, and I'd love to do Phil. Maybe a weekly cover song, Phil, or maybe a fortnightly, so we're not doing it every week. It doesn't become too stressful. Yeah, I reckon we should get the guitar on and do a bit more music.
Where can people find me? Wow.
Yeah.
Not too many places, but I left Phil to sort of concentrate on my support coordination business. So that's going well. We're based in Tamworth. You'll see me floating around social media a little bit with Facebook, NDIS in the New England. Give that a bit of a plug. Where we've got we came up to 2,000 members, so that's a 5-year journey. We've got 2,000 members there.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Yep. So lots of NDIS disability related content there, and apart from that, yeah, not too much. Just working hard. We've got the part of the Expo committee, so I'll give that a bit of a plug. That's going to be awesome this year, bigger and better. It's awesome every year, but that's in September, so we're planning for that now. So
Beauty.
I'm excited about that this year. But apart from that, I need to get out of the office more. I need to come down and visit Phil in Corinda. And
feel free to pop in on a Tuesday for a live episode of 5 Minutes with Phil. Might get a
definitely.
All right, what's this, Phil? You got something?
Not so much the sing along, but yeah. Maybe the I can do I don't know the shakers or something like that, or tambourine or
percussion. I'll bring a handpan for you.
Yes, yeah.
One of those steel tongue drums. I've got one of them at home. Thanks, I guess, for joining us for this very long episode of 5 Minutes with Phil. I hope it's given all.
Yeah, 100-minute episode, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I snip it down, we'll see where it ends up. But yeah, thanks for joining us, Paul. And I hope this has given everyone a bit of an insight into the evolution of 5 Minutes with Phil. Some might say for the better. Some might say, what's that Chris guy on about half the time? But, look, that's how we roll. We like to have fun here. So thanks for joining us, guys. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
My pleasure, and thank you for inviting me on. It's been it's just been a privilege to be a part of it, and I look forward to the next, like I said, next 100 episodes, and seeing where you take it, Phil. Stick with your vision, keep with your opinions, mate. Yeah. The community needs to know. So
I think sometimes
don't let anyone hold you back, mate.
I think
yeah.
Sometimes we need someone who says it as it is, don't we? And I think
100%. Phil's that man.
Phil is that man, and yeah, like I think we get a few more opinions out there. We talk about our community a bit more, and yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks for joining us, Paul. Thanks for watching, everybody at home, and we will see you for a shorter episode next week.
Beautiful, lovely.
Right.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Chris.